welcome to day one of week 3 of split 2 of the 2019 OPL. I'm Nick Boy Richardson, and I am exhausted. Boys, how are you?
I'm just feeling real positive today, Nick. I'm in a great mood. I think I speak for everyone here that I've been a ray of sunshine in everyone's day so far. Just very, very happy.
Yeah, okay. I feel like I sit somewhere in the middle. Nick's exhausted. Jake is, for some reason, a ray of sunshine for literally the first time in his life.
Yeah.
And I'm just feeling normal, you know? I'm a normie.
I'm a normie, the Bryce Paul story.
I'm a normie.
You've never been anything other than just like, yeah, I'm here.
Our knees just touched.
Yeah.
Your shoes clean?
Not
Not you.
so.
Him.
Mine are. Yeah.
Yours are always beautiful.
These are the shoes that I was getting.
Really?
Yeah.
They've
Well, I
had some
mean,
work.
not the first iteration, but yeah, these are real clean.
No, they look good.
Yeah. Hell yeah,
I
brother.
was there when you bought them, and you dirtied them immediately upon walking out of the
Walking to
store.
the office, yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty
Never
funny.
wear your shoes out of the store because it's just a bad time.
You gotta have indoor. I feel like if they're broadcast shoes, they're indoor shoes.
Yeah, I mean, what indoor? What do you just wear them in your house?
What does that
Anytime,
mean?
like
Those are Ugg boots.
Yeah,
Ugg boots are also. Can we get show Ugg boots?
Can we?
Do you have Ugg boots?
I have Ugg boots,
Let's
but
wear Ugg
I
boots
would
next
want a
week.
second pair of Ugg boots because my Ugg
Oh.
boots. I'm a filthy human being.
Yes, you
I
are.
will wear my Ugg boots down to the shop.
Oh, you got outdoor Ugg boots.
Oh, that is
No,
weird.
not outdoor. Like so,
Yeah.
like what I mean is like
yes,
You're literally
kind of
outdoor.
outdoor.
What do you mean?
You're wrecking the ray of sunshine moon, Bryce. No, so what
Oh
I
my
mean,
God,
like,
it's been 70 seconds.
yeah, I know. He's real annoying. What I mean is like, if Jenna's like, I want breakfast in bed, and I'm like, I have nothing.
Yeah.
Which I did, last Sunday.
Okay.
And I made shakshuka. I ran down to the store, got some peppers and some tin tomatoes.
You got to
and my
microwave
Ugg
those
boots.
eggs. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Exactly.
lovely.
No
That's good.
microwave required.
That being said, I feel like we've said it now. I would love show Ugg boots.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
production team, if we could get that organized in some
Or
way, that would be
Uggs.
fantastic.
Ugg boots. I know you're watching. If you want to send some complimentary Uggs.
Please, that doesn't conflict with any of our other sponsors. We don't have a foot sponsor. We'd love a foot sponsor. Send us some fresh feet. Speaking of fresh feet, we got a whole weekend of League of Legends. There's so many
He's
feet in the
smooth.
building. It's unbelievable. We got some new feet here as well because we have a brand new play-by-play caster. We are very excited for Richard Pulse Cam.
Oh, it's me. I didn't know I was going to come on so early. What's going on, guys?
I literally stopped you in the hallway, and
I
was
know,
like,
I remember
I'm
the
going to
conversation.
intro you.
I thought it was
before."
going to be like to Champion Slates, and we'll have a bit of banter during Champion Slate, but I'm here. Hey, guys, how's it going?
Yeah, really good. How was your flight? I think this is what everyone wants to know. It's a great trip, right?
I thought there was a segment for this later on, but we can talk about it now. 29 hours, arrived this morning, went to my hotel, came here immediately after, photobombed some Chinese tourists, and that was basically it, yeah.
All right, good. Well, we're very happy to have you. If you fall asleep during the broadcast for the OPL, that's fine. Also, if you
Right.
screw up, you can just blame it on the jet lag.
Exactly. I mean, it's just a perfect first week, to be honest. I have just chugged an extra large coffee. Shout outs to Australian coffee, but try my best.
Sydney, best coffee in the country. All right, so over the course of the weekend, we have many things on. One of the things we have on is the Nick Bag segment coming tomorrow. We'd love your questions. AskNickBoy@gmail.com. or
Surely
Twitter
it's just
or
overflowing.
Instagram.
From everything I've heard about Nick Bag,
Yep.
even unprompted, probably the most popular mailbag
Email
segment
address in Oceania.
ever.
Fertile with questions.
Oh, not again.
So
You've already used that one. Come on, bro.
have I?
Yeah.
No,
yeah,
I thought I thought
No.
I
You've done
was-
2, and one of them was fertile.
One of them was fertile.
You said you were pregnant with something, and then the next time you were like, I'm fertile with something.
Can I tell you something?
What?
This is the most the word fertile has ever been used on any esports broadcast ever.
Yeah, it is.
Welcome to the OPL. There's also an emote competition. So we've got Nick Plays League, as is tradition, at the end of the broadcast. In order to play with us today, we want something from you. We give you a lot. It's time for you to give something back. The OPL Twitch emote competition. If you make and send in your OPL Twitch emote to @OPL with the hashtag IamOPL, you get to play with us. So we need some new Twitch emotes, and we figured we'd crowdsource it because we can't be bothered making them ourselves.
Did anyone else notice that the only person not emote worthy on the broadcast is Bryce? No one else noticed that?
I don't do stupid things. I'm just
That's true.
That's
optimum.
True. That's true.
Just optimum
OPL
performance.
serious.
Yeah. Yeah.
There we go.
This is it. This is peak.
I'm currently thinking of all the stupid things, and I'm like, I can't say any of them on camera, so that's okay. So please send in your remotes. You'll get to have your remote shown on the broadcast. You'll get to potentially have your remote featured in Twitch chat, and you'll get to play League with us. It's a trifecta of winning. I'm fairly certain that's all we have logistically to get through. So let's head to the schedule find out the games that we have on today. First up, Direwolves versus Avant. This is the closest in ranking game.
Oh,
Bryce,
okay.
how would you describe this?
A banger.
It's going to be a banger. Mammoth versus Order coming in number 2. Chiefs versus Legacy, game number 3. And then Gravitas versus Bombers, rounding out the evening. Gravitas, of course, featured in a video that you saw just before the broadcast started. They've got a new membership paid tier system to support Gravitas. It's an interesting initiative, and if you want to learn more about it, head to the Gravitas website and check it out.
Also, that was a close game. We said the start one. They were only 1 point different as well. Bombers and Gravitas.
Correct
Single win to double win.
I don't appreciate being corrected on broadcast.
There you go. Bad luck.
So
was the
we're
last
just-
piece
You're
of
really in
logistics.
the wrong broadcast, aren't you?
I am very much. This is bad. This is a bad spot for me. So let's just throw directly to the jet lagged man and Rusty with the Macca's champ select.
That is me. Thank you very much, Nick Boy. And I'm joined by Rusty. It feels like I'm back in the LPL.
It's been a while, hasn't it, Pulse? Yeah, LPL casters of a year long gone now. Of course, now back in Oceania. I've come home. You've come over to another Commonwealth country.
Exactly.
So
I mean, I'm basically a neighbor. At
And
this
you've
point,
lived here
yeah.
before.
And I've lived here. I
Not
was
your
here a
first
couple of years
rodeo.
ago. So yeah, I think I'm an honorary Australian at the very least, right? I think like we share a lot of vocab between our two languages, right?
We do, but you're very quickly going to learn that we have a lot of unique ones for ourselves as well. So I'm sure you'll get thrown into the deep end and learn some of those the hard way. We can't even say the new genre of game properly. Auto Battler.
Auto Battler.
Auto
Yeah, I mean, that is
Battler.
just the name, right?
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned. All right, well, we do have our first game of the night, and that is Direwolves versus Avant Gaming. That's going to be my first OPL cast. I mean, I've done Origin before, but it's the first time I've actually been on the OPL League, so excited to get into this one. Direwolves going to be taking away the Aurelia on their side, and then Avant removing the Lux off the table right here. That's going to be followed by an Olaf here, Rusty.
And to set the scene for a lot of people at home, we are on patch 9.12 with Mordekaiser disabled, so keep that in mind. You will not be seeing any Mords, though he is a strong champion. And when you look at the state of these teams right now, AV 3-1, second place outright on the standings. Dials 2-2 in the middle of the pack, but still looking dominant, particularly through their jungler in Raze. And this is actually a battle of the Korean import junglers.
Yeah, I mean, it's like they were saying on the couch, this is probably going to be the most balanced matchup that we have here tonight. Karma is going to be the next ban here from Avant. I'm just waiting on Direwolves for their final ban out here. What are you expecting, Rusty? Oh, it's Yumi.
Yumi?
Yeah.
Another
Crushed it.
support taken off the board. Now, Lux and Karma have been taken away by AV. Dial's responding with a third support in Kine. It does mean that there's a lot of flex picks, just strong general champions are still up and available, with all of the targeting moving towards the supportive role. AV not going to go towards a flex, and instead Dials will have their pick of the litter with what's left. And I'm very curious to see where they choose to go, and if they want to prioritize something in bot lane, like a Nautilus, or if they want to go for what is the strongest still remaining, you would say, of the Aatrox.
Yeah, not a lot has changed over the last few patches. Aatrox still going to be first pick worthy here.
And Sona, of course, is still up and hasn't been seen through this pick ban phase. I would be shocked to see that given over to their opponents, but AV, they have opted for the Xayah Rakan.
Yeah,
Or
well,
not.
not just yet. It's going to be the Nico coming through here. And there was, of course, a very heavy look at the supports. So, yeah, will be the Xayah going into the bottom lane right here. Direwolves back over to their side.
And it is easy to not go for the Rakan in the first two, prioritizing a flex in Nico. If Direwolves take Rakan, you feel like, you know, you could counter it with Xayah and another support, being able to see the Rakan on the board. So I would be surprised to see the Direwolves take it away. But again, as mentioned, the Sona is still up and available.
Yeah, just chilling. I feel like the teams wouldn't have forgotten about it. Skarner into the jungle there. And then potentially looking at a mid laner.
I don't think we'll see a blind pick Zed, though that would be very exciting to see Get Back go that path.
I mean, that would be, that sends me actually back to the LPL. Where
Would be the most alpha.
I will just be just the AD carry pickup into the bottom lane. So nothing too surprising. Rakan, in the end, will actually be picked up by Avant. They just wanted to prioritize the Nico.
Yeah, and with the Kai'Sa locked in here, that does actually give some magic damage down in the bottom lane 2v2 and just generally some magic damage in the comp for Direwolves, which is nice to have when a lot of the flex picks you're seeing run around are mostly physical and mostly bruisers. So I think it's actually a really nice pickup for Direwolves, though I would say it is support reliant as to how the 2v2 goes, and support's already being banned away by AV. Kai'Sa Nautilus, another staple that may actually be seen.
Yeah, Morgana getting taken away here. Fiora as well, trying to deny some of that split push pressure. There's still other things that can play into that Aatrox, of course. Just depends where he goes. Back over to Avant, looking towards their final ban.
May well be another support taken off the board to give a favorable 2v2, like mentioned before, the Nautilus, so they're going to focus that one. They're going to take that off the board. Now, Direwolves with one remaining ban having focused top lane, would not be shocked to see another one, something like the Jax perhaps, to be taken away to give Biopanther a better time, because this is a clear indicator through the bans that Aatrox wants to go top lane. Banning the Fiora, one of the few, I would say, harder counters of that Aatrox pick.
Yeah, Aatrox, a lot of good matchups into the top lane. Very difficult to really just shut them out in the 1 versus 1 at the very least. Need some type of jungle attention usually. And Cassiopeia will be the final ban away there towards Avant. So again, looking towards solo laners. And now still jungle on the board for Avant to look at. They are hovering the Nocturne.
Yeah, it makes the most sense to go for jungle here in the 4th position. You've already got your jungle matchup. You're just missing the rest of the Direwolves composition. So pick up the Nocturne, perhaps. Yep, that will be where they go. Fast clearing jungler, matches the speed of Iskana pretty successfully and is very scary to deal with at level 6. In a way, a little bit similar to that of the Iskana. Just provides a lot of threat in hovering places more than anything else.
Yeah, Nocturne coming through, and it will also just be the Galio here for Direwolves, so good chance to just slots down into the support role. Has been finding that resurgence down there, and then looking towards their final pickup now, the Direwolves.
You would expect something with magic damage to be picked in the mid lane. Not knowing his matchup, however, here, Get Back, I am curious to see where they go. And it could be instead of mid lane pick, it could be a top lane option. And I think that's where they're going to go here.
Yeah, so it will be the Cannon. Got that flex ability now with this lineup here from the Direwolves, so we'll see where everything's locked in at the very end. And Avant, over to them. They do have the pick of the litter for their final lock-in.
And Nico's one of the few champions that can actually weather the Aatrox quite well. And
Yep.
once again, while that is a
Okay.
possibility, they have opted away from that potential lane assignment. They've gone for TikTok Shock in the mid lane, one of his signature picks.
Yeah, Zillion in the solo lane. I mean, back in the day, there were not many people who would pick up a Zillion in the solo lane. I think back even to like Seros days coming out of Japan, it was just like, all right, that's like your one Zillion player. But no, in recent years, more and more people have picked up the Zillion, and we're going to see it in the mid lane here. And it looks like it might be into this Aatrox.
You know, I've always looked at it like there is an Orianna type of player and there is a Victor type of player. And there is very rarely someone that does both.
Yep.
Because they have their styles. And I think that Zillion's the type of champion that has such a particular style that you look at it and you're like, fantastic, he's the Zillion player. He plays the weird things. And Shock has actually been known to have some unorthodox picks. He was playing mid-Urgot last year before it was changed. And even when it was changed, he was still playing mid-Urgot. Like, he finds a way to play these different picks and makes them work very successfully.
Yeah, back before it was cool. And yeah, we have a full lineups coming through right here. So just looking at them off the bat, is there one that you prefer here, Rusty, or?
I mean, really, I think that there are some strong picks on the side of the Direwolves, and no doubt we'll be able to speak more about this as their coach does come in a little bit. But their opponents as well here in AV, they've got the Zyra Khan. They've got the Nocturne with the Zillion, which is a really nice combo and has a lot of side lane threat if the Nocturne gets going. And Nico's just an all-round champion, you know. Most likely will go the Glacial Augment build, has some really good complementary team fighting, and honestly is comparable to something of a cannon. So I think between both of these teams, there's actually a lot of similarities. And I look at it and I say, however the bottom lane or bottom side of the map starts will probably dictate a lot of the flow of this game. So no favorable comps for me, but just two strong comps.
All right, getting on to the rift with Direwolves and Avant coming in here. It's going to be my first cast of the OPL, and it will be the first game of the night as well. And joining us, we have the coach of Direwolves. How are you going?
How you going, guys? Not too bad. Not too bad.
All right, so how are you feeling about these? Well, I'm just going to, before I even finish my own question, I'm just going to have a bit of aggression here into the Direwolves jungle. But how are you feeling about the drafts coming out of this one?
So from our end, I think we have a pretty solid, easy to execute composition. Kind of what we've been practicing throughout the week. So overall, really happy. And I feel like I knew they were going to come out with some funky picks. That's like kind of the way AV do it. So nothing too, I mean, obviously it's expectedly unexpected. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
Kind of like the pocket picks ways, you know? Like it's not something crazy for AV, but it is for everyone else.
Yeah, I mean, Shock has always had a pretty unorthodox champ pool. I would say Chippy's also has his niche. I don't really know too much about Miru, so yeah, we'll have to see how, I guess, he fits in with that team over the course of the split as
And I
well.
think that's actually where my next question wants to go for you as well, is when you contrast the junglers here, both being Korean imports, first time playing in the OPL this split, you would say they're very different styles, and when you see those two type of styles clash, someone that's played competitively in Raze and a solo queue jungler in Miru, how do you actually foresee this going?
To be honest, I haven't really thought about how Raze would interact with many of the other junglers, like 1v1 and stylistically. I feel like we're still trying to like find the way we want to play the game and who kind of takes control on our team. So it's hard for me to comment about like matchups 1-on-1, especially with Raze and Totra. I'm still myself trying to figure out what their strengths and weaknesses are. So I guess we'll kind of find out more as the split progresses.
Ooh, that's going to be first blood in the bottom lane, though. Your boys in the bot doing a lot of work, looking towards their second kill as well, actually, on Gunkrab. But it would be first blood, so obviously it's going well for you guys. I mean, notoriously, you guys do also have your 10-man roster. I mean, I'm coming from the LPL where everybody's got a 10-man roster, you know. How much are you expecting maybe to flex that later on into the split? Is this something that you guys are considering?
Yeah, well, I mean, Get Back was the first, because originally we had Sumin as the main mid laner, and Get Back was the one who was performing better in scrims and in our practice and worked better for our team. So it's really good to have that flexibility. Yeah, two of the people definitely you want to keep an eye on is Udisoft and Corporal. I would say both of them right now, they look like they're OPL ready. And obviously since they've had that split of OPL already, last split, they're definitely rearing to go, and it's really good to have them on board and always giving their advice and giving their what they think about our team, because they get to see it objectively since you're not like in it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been really good having them around all the time, especially at the office.
It really sounds like you're looking like role by role, though. Do you think that it would change for like team composition specifically, where you would change the roster?
To be honest, it's just about performance with the meta, performance in scrims. So
Yeah.
that's pretty much it.
All right, well, thank you so much for your time, Sharp, and we're going to get on with the cast. Catch you later.
And one thing I will say while Sharp is walking out of the room is his academy team are incredibly hard players. A quick search on how many games they play, it's wild. They're very dedicated to improving. So I wouldn't be shocked to see any of them actually crop up again in the OPL, as we did see them in Split 1.
I do think it's an interesting conversation across the board, right? Because I think that every region, every team approaches subs and their impact very differently in the way that they will utilize them and when they come in and when they don't come in.
Yeah, I mean, conceptually something isn't perfect yet, It's all just being discovered. You know what subs work like in traditional sport? It's generally because the physicality of those sports require a substitute to, carry some of the burden to allow breath to be core, Similar things that happen in esports. It's undecided. Again, in
lane, double taunt coming through. Gunkrab trying to back this one up. And Katsuri just pushing forwards once again. This Direwolf bottom lane really getting the best of them, even though AV actually had a really nice level 1 coming into this lane.
And a great opportunity to take stock of what happened at the earliest stages. It was a level 2 kill, it felt like, just smashing down on Alidoric. Didn't use a single summoner spell and just died. Of course, it was double summoners used by Totoro, as the recall seemingly wants to be interrupted there by Katsuri, but not able to find the mark. And, ever since that point, even with the summoners being an advantage for AV, the lane became significantly harder. Now it's a CS differential. And when you look at the bottom lane 2v2 pulse, Katsuri, a rookie of the OPL coming in, to be able to do well with Totoro, a Korean player as well, this early against the AV duo. Very impressive.
Yeah, I mean, things are only going to get better on that lane as Priority goes back over towards him with Totoro's summoners coming back up very shortly. So we'll see how that one progresses. Going towards the mid lane right here with Get Back and Shock. Of course, I'm always interested in the pocket picks personally. Just seeing how the Zillion's going. But to be honest, as a range champion in a mid lane, you're just looking at a whole lot of farming until he really gets into those skirmishes and team fights.
Really looking for that first recall and reset first, as is Get Back, of course. They start to ramp up in damage pretty significantly. And Zillion, one of those champions who is useful at 6, but is really strong at like level 7 for wave clear. And that's when he starts to open up the map a little bit more. And I look at junglers more than anything else, is how will they be able to influence the state of the game as supports?
Yeah,
saying hello.
Just playing Fogaport right there. He knew Raze was in the enemy jungle, so he's going to tag up with him as he goes back, clearing some of the honey fruit and also clearing out some wards on the way back into lane. So already Dire was really capitalizing on the strength they have in the bottom side and then pushing that through with Raze.
We saw some earlier invades as well from Raze on the Skarner. Had a smite battle with Midu where there was split-second difference between who got the objective. Midu was able to lock that one down, and the potential of even further snowballs, denying the level 6 spike timing from Midu was on the cards as, again, bottom teleport.
Oh, teleport coming down into the bottom lane as well right here. I'm not sure if Totoro can get back in range, but Getback's going to give it a shot. Nice knock-up coming in for Alidoric, but Gunkrab trapped in place, flash to the way. Ignite is ticking. They're looking for the dive right here. Response with the Ignite, tower shots coming through, and Direwolves, they really wanted something to happen because of that teleport.
Yeah, once you commit the teleport, you are committed to the play, but now teleports bottom after a reset and immediately recalls again. Makes things very difficult for the mid laner of Direwolves. However, bottom lane just having a field day, able to push in once again. Gunkrab not willing to reset because he's just got back here himself. And you have to feel like Ray's level 6 will just go bottom and dive, especially now that they've spotted this Nocturne.
Yeah, I really just feel like just going to start taking turns right here. Another teleport in the top lane, as we were just talking about. Ray's hitting that level 6 look towards the bottom side. Mira, though, taking the opportunity to go into the enemy jungle, take away the scrump. Will be spotted out, but look at this. Tower dive once again, taunted, knocked down, knocked up. Doing going to be a second kill. Meanwhile, on the top side, Mira getting caught out. This is an absolute disaster across the board here from AV.
Yeah, that's really shaky stuff coming out of AV. Recognizing the bottom lane was in trouble is one thing. Surviving is a whole other ballpark entirely. And they knew that Midu was going to go to the other side of the map. He was spotted on the Scuttle Crab. So AV, they lose everything on both sides. Mid-top collapse onto the jungler of AV. Their bot lane dies as well and really starts to become a tough game to recover from with all of these free trades being taken and not actually being traded back.
I mean, this is going to just start cascading out of control. You've got all those skirmishes turning into a dragon right now. Complete control of the bottom side. You can see a control ward into the enemy jungle. We can actually see a replay of how that one went down. And as you called it, Ray's going to the bottom side.
Yeah, he's level 6 before the bottom lane. Flash not available because they had to use that earlier to get out of the teleport. There's now the redemption attempt in top lane to take down Bio.
I mean, no flash right here. It's going to be a pretty easy run down. Mira didn't even need to use his ult, which he didn't have, or his flash. So nice kill in return for the top side. Shark just going to take a little bit of harass in the mid lane.
Shock will always be able to weather this. The red buff does hurt a lot, though, for the state of the middle lane. In saying that, when you look at the case in top lane, I would say the saving grace of AV is that Midu does the unexpected and actually does go back to top lane. Not having the ultimate, just dying. No one expects you to run from base to top lane to gank them straight away, but it works, and that does help a lot.
Ooh, taunt on the bottom side once again. This aggression coming through from the Direwolves. Sums up about a 3-wave advantage as well. Already picked up the tier, you can see, on Katsuri. But realistically, AV just playing on the back foot. They do still have this strong skirmishing potential. We can look at team fights as well, but it just seems like the early parts of the game are just all going over to the Direwolves.
The one thing that they do have is a teleport advantage for top lane now, though. When you think of the kill that just happened on Biopanther, he teleports back to lane. Chippy's walks, has a CS advantage. There's also a Nico who has a lot of push. So the current moment definitely favoring Direwolves, but there is opportunity that starts to crop up, perhaps to make some plays around the map. And, Rift Herald up in 20, no Dragon. There's only really one objective to look at besides turrets and dives. We'll see how they played out.
And again, every time I just got nervous looking at that bottom side, every single time Alidoric goes in, but another invade coming out here. Miru, I mean, he knows it's happening, but there's not a whole lot he can do. You just have to opt for the recall right here because, I mean, he's actually sticking around with Alidoric, but mid lane is nowhere to be seen. Shock is at base with no teleport, so.
Yeah, much more respect given this time, and being on the correct side of the map is the Nocturne with the ultimate there. Has also got stopwatch, so, the potential of going in, especially when Alidoric hits 6, is getting higher and higher, but he's not there yet, and so that risk isn't fully present at the current moment.
Yeah, I'm really just looking towards this Nocturne ultimate right now because he's hovering and spending so much time on this bottom side. I understand the need to try and get something back right here, but it just seems like what he's gotten is a Gromp, and that's essentially it for the last 3 minutes.
I think it's just about stabilizing though, right? I don't think you have to go too hard to make a play. As the losing team, you can afford to make the correct play. And with no objectives up for a little bit, they have a time to just sit there and not allow Direwolves to get any further ahead. And credit to Direwolves, they're not being picked, they're not overexerting themselves, they're not going too hard. They're just taking the current victories that they do have, and a decent gold lead is formed because of that. Yeah,
that being said, the solo laners are still doing pretty well for themselves on the side of AV. You look towards Chippy in the top lane, actually leading in farm, has the kill over Biopanther as well. Mid lane also just picked up the Rod of Ages, so in terms of solo lanes, we're doing fine. And I expect there's going to be a relatively even game until we start getting towards those skirmishes and people start getting out of their lanes. Totoro, though,
they have out of their lane. Yeah, the Rift Herald looks like it has been started from Raze as well, so They're the first to swap lanes. The support of AV has moved towards mid, but it doesn't seem like they'll be able to contest the objective. Instead, it looks like they want kills in mid lane. If Shock slows Katsuri down, it'd be on here. But Herald already gone.
Yeah, Smite coming through right there. No real contest coming out of AV, just a bit of scout there from Nico. And Aladoric looking for this 2 versus 2. Raze is passing through onto the bottom side of the map. As Robuff's going to be spawning soon. And we have Get Back actually just now laning into Gunkrab.
Headbutts a wall.
You hate to see it. Let me find out. Katsuri moving into the bottom side as well to probably pick up the rest of this wave. And Get Back will just go ahead and rotate. Still got another minute until the next dragon. It's going to be Infernal, in fact, so I do expect a bit of preparations coming from both sides.
Yes, this to me is actually the moment that could blow open the game in favor of Direwolves. The Herald takes big, you know, it's still definitely a win for them, but as it stands, going for that Herald has just given the AD carry of AV some time to catch up in farm, and it's given a moment again to be able to recover the losses that they suffered AV in the earlier stages, as Direwolves put their efforts toward an objective that doesn't immediately yield results but can. And I think this Dragon fight, being an Infernal, having the Rift Herald as well in their back pocket is something that could blow the game completely open in favor of Direwolves if successful.
There's also a good chance it could be very explosive. I mean, you look at basically every summoner being up across the board from everybody apart from Biopanther.
AV placed the teleport ward that just got cleared. Raze, obviously aware of this, with Totoro is now gathered down into the bottom lane. Chippy's off a reset was looking. Direwolves, they're playing very smart League of Legends right now, monitoring what their opponents are looking at, and they might even find themselves a Gunkrab.
Oh, jumping out of the brush right there. Good reaction coming out from Gunkrab, though Raze did move at him very slowly. It wasn't super scary.
It was the smite, the chilling smite of the I'm coming to get ya.
Yeah.
Being able to force that ultimate means that Flash ult from Skarner will always hit. Flash taunt from Totoro always connect as well. As Nocturne in.
Oh, actually going to be getting a kill right here onto the Aatrox. Simple pickup in the river is trying to rotate. That being said, it is traded for a tower and bottom side priority here for Direwolves. Really have to see if AV can capitalize right now. Otherwise, most likely this is a dragon over to the Direwolves.
The numbers advantage means that they'll be fine for the next 15 odd seconds. The question is, at that point when the teleport is available for Aatrox, how will Direwolves respond? Totoro's recalled, so perhaps just sacking it in its entirety. And that does mean a trade is available. Again, money going towards Direwolves. They get the bot lane turret. It's the first of the game. But AV are still trading back, surprisingly, from the deficit they have.
I mean, do you feel like this is overly safe from the Direwolves with the teleport coming up literally seconds away? That could have been a contest. No Nocturne ultimate. Biopanther, yes, doesn't have his own teleport, but
I don't think overly safe would be the describer for that, but safe is definitely true. They don't want to take the needless risks, but you know, going for that Infernal Dragon, being down a member, having the teleport, not having everything up, can be risky, and they don't choose to take that.
could have been. Wasn't in the end. Get Back still just farming up the mid lane, maybe setting up for another push right now. But we're seeing a lot of lane swaps coming through. Of course, the AD carries moving towards the top side now. We're going to find themselves just probably locked in a 1v1, though.
Yeah, you off too.
Yeah, we are looking at Totoro and Get Back moving towards the top side.
Yeah, looks like before the swap was going to happen there from AV. Chippy's spots a ward before recalling, but Direwolf's still first onto the turret. Direwolf's still able to get some damage down.
There is a lot of pinging going on right now, Rusty, from both sides.
There's one thing you've learned, Pulse, from the LPL. It's the
Oh,
Korean
yeah.
imports. The best form of communication is pinging.
Yes, it is. It's almost maddening for the casters and the viewers, though.
To be fair, the audio in that region was allowed for just pings.
Fair, yeah. I go to sleep at night and that's all I hear. Alright, Ray's clearing out this ward. There's just a lot of posturing right now, throwing skill shots, looking towards micro objectives. But it really just takes one catalyst. Someone just, an auto attack in the wrong place onto the wrong ward, and someone getting picked out by a Skarner ultimate could start everything off.
Midu looks like he wanted to reset, maybe had a Guardian Angel available, but still has the stopwatch, so he hangs around. Wants to defend this turret. Direwolves are playing this out slow, very patiently, but still well as they're on.
Big flash coming in into the taunt right there. Nearsighted follow-up from Mira. Great coming in with there with the Zhonya's, but still going to go down underneath the tower.
Chippy.
Chippy. Flash comes out. Stun goes down. And the cannon tries to pop the ultimate, runs away, but he is slowed down. That will be another return kill. AV evening up the scoreline.
Amazingly, just as I said, Direwolves playing calm, playing slow and patient, there's a flash forwards because Biopanther just hits the stun on the cannon. And suddenly AV, very quick to respond, get themselves 2 return kills. So the kills are equalized on the board. the tower stays alive at half health, and everything slows down once again. I would almost hazard a guess at saying needlessly forward from them at the end.
Sure. I mean, in the end, this is exactly what we were talking about, right? Like, as soon as you get towards those skirmishes, the ability to actually take priority with a Nocturne ultimate, and with all those ultimates, in fact, then you really can get some in return. So nice return play coming in there from AV. As you said, equaling up the kills. Still not quite there in gold just because of the bottom side. And actually, Katsuri having a bit of priority here because of the recall timing. And this actually might just be another tower to the Direwolves. So it really begs the question, who actually won the top sides of the map?
Direwolves still definitely win through getting that turret, but they are now the ones that are going to be late to reset, so that's where the map will continue to ebb and flow. However, with no objectives, Direwolves come out on top again with that trade for certain, though there was some shakiness, and it's the killer instinct I like to see the killer instinct from the Korean players flashing forwards. That was ultimately their undoing, though.
It's always the conversation, and tempo was a currency, but there's nothing to spend it on right now. Shot clearing out the mid wave right here. And yeah, once you get past a certain point, you can one-shot the back wave, which is a big deal for mid laners. Miro actually looking for his own invade.
Just wants to sneak it from under the nose.
Yeah. I don't know if Raze was quite aware of that. Well, obviously he is now, as he sees the single chicken go back. And yeah, he'll finish up that red buff. Mid lane getting cleared out, and it does feel like AV is starting to just chip away at these towers here and there. Starting to get something back for themselves. Another minute on the next dragon. It's going to be another Infernal, in fact, here, Rusty. Oh, flash forwards. Knock up, suppress, and it's just a chain of CC right now onto Raze. That's the first kill. Looking towards that knock up. And Miru.
Brazilian ult.
It's good, but here comes a perfectly timed Galio ultimate, forcing out the Zhonya's. Chippy moving backwards. Fire Panther tries to get into the fight. He finds one. Pushing towards the rest of the team. Katsuri backing off though. Gunkrab pushing him down the river here. He's completely separated from the team. But I don't think they can catch up in time.
Gunkrab had flash and
I saw it.
I was like, no way.
Zillion behind with the speed up.
But that was actually, honestly, at the end, a surprisingly slow amount of team fighting. Slow amount
I was ready for more.
With everything possible used. The Zillion flash ultimate, Nocturne, Nico. The only thing not used on AV's side was Zarya flash and ultimate. You look at Direwolves, Kennen had the ult in. Skarner started it off with the ult as well. Katsuri, Totoro come in. So much used, but just everyone's so tanky. Or the placebo effect of they're very tanky because of a Zillion has really added up into the outcome of that fight.
Tanky, and it felt like there was maybe a little bit of trepidation as well. Dragon spawning, maybe not wanting to go balls to the wall right here, and just everyone dying and then losing the next dragon. Chippies throws out the Super Soaker. As a Scorpion, I'm sure Raze doesn't appreciate that.
They're
but
forcing this
guy. Go on to this dragon. Kennen does not have ultimate. In fact, many people don't right now in this fight, apart from Zillion. Chucking out these bombs, making it very difficult. Look at that area denial right now coming in from Zillion.
They're in.
Through onto Raze. Oh my god, absolutely obliterated right there. Totoro pushing forward. Here comes Get Back. Forwards once again, and Raze trying to get around this area denial coming out from AV. But really, that was just a bank heist gone well. Don't stay in that. All right.
Zillion's starting to ramp up. He's got a Luden's Echo. Didn't expect that kind of damage. I didn't see who got the Dragon Pulse. Did you?
Me neither, and the graphic
Catch
isn't
this
telling
fight?
me either. I was doing that thing that casters do, which was stall until the graphic tells you what happened.
We'll see in a second. Or
Yeah.
Nocturne assaulted.
Okay, he's just blowing up Totoro in his own jungle.
Good play, Galio. And there you go. AV get the second Infernal. So they get a turret, they get the Infernal, a backside kill on this as well. And, you know, suddenly this game has started to shift back into the favor of AV, but it is still the gold lead that belongs to Direwolves. That was a stopwatch.
That was a stopwatch indeed.
didn't have
And
to
it
see
is
that
an
on camera.
Infernal over to AV. So double Infernals right here. And they did have priority on that one, but still, I mean, starting to ramp up now from what was a relatively dire early game.
There are so many scary features still available from Direwolves. However, when you contrast, you know, how strong is Katsuri compared to Gunkrab, that is a monster Kai'Sa, who's getting closer to the third item spikes as well. Get Back is a big Aatrox. That will always be true now that he's got a full first item working towards his second. At the completion of his second being the Death's Dance, he will be nigh on unstoppable. So there are still very redeeming features here on the individual strengths of Direwolves for sure. And that Kennen is always a place that you have to look at, as Zillion has just double-bombed Katsuri almost out of existence.
I mean, talking about timers is one thing, but when you have Shock literally half-healthing people with bombs right now. You've got to pay some respect towards the mid-game Zillion right now, who is, as you said, sat on double items.
Yeah,
Top lane doing the same.
Need to get rid of some brown bags there on the side of AV to feel a little bit more confident with their boots.
Yeah.
They're working towards it. Item spikes come first, however, and I think it's a really good point to check in with those item spikes, Paul.
Yeah, I mean, also it's not so bad for Zillion since he can speed himself up, so he can afford to wait a little bit longer on the old brown bags. But yeah, we can see 8,000 gold on Shock right now. It's just been soaking up these minion waves wherever he goes. And yeah, Infinity Edge, it looks like just completed there as well from Gun Crab.
2 items for most of AV. There are 2 items starting to come online for their opponents, but Alidoric.
Suppression right down onto Alidoric. Should be able to get away right now with the quickness. It is okay, but Direwolves, I like the aggression that's coming through right here. Yeah, Mira just going to shove him back right there with the unspeakable horror. Yeah, everything just goes back to normality just for a little bit.
But it is really good forcing from Direwolves into the enemy jungle. The unfortunate thing for them is that there is still a ward on the Baron itself that will not be cleared, but they have cleared out a lot of the jungle. They've swept some control on Summoner's Rift, and Bio has snuck into an area that hasn't been checked at all and may have the flank here.
Oh, flash forwards into the massive taunt coming through from Totoro. That's a great stopwatch coming in right there as well from the cannon, but it's just going to be a cluster of ultimates coming through. Get back flash to the wall, instantly dies though. Here come the Spookies. An attack onto Biopanther. Nice follow-up there from Chippies. Rooted down is Biopanther. He falls. And trying a little too hard. A damage control feels right there from the Direwolves. 3 members down. Baron on the board.
And it feels like they might have forgotten that Guncrab had cleanse on the Xayah. He was the target, as now Chippies.
Katsuri finds one, looking towards the second, but it is just a clone. However, that might just be enough, yeah, to force the rest of AV to disengage.
And that's a really good counterplay there from Katsuri individually. 3-0-3 on the Kai'Sa, gets the pick, pushes them off the Baron, and does force the reset. But again, Direwolves force the play, force the initiative. They're the ones diving under the turret, but it's so difficult to dive. A Guardian Angel Nocturne, a Zillion with ultimate and a QSS, Cleanse ultimate on a Xayah. Executing that is really high risk, and they didn't get the rewards that they were after. However, we get to see what happens here as Chippies just cops a W to the face and is run down.
I mean, that will happen, you know. Getting tagged by a stray W.
It was pretty nice animation hiding, is how I would describe it from Katsuri. Auto attack through a Q and then W'd at the same time. So
yeah. Just a small micro interactions there. That being said, I feel like if you're doing it across the lane, there is a good amount of time just to react to the animation. It's not the fastest projectile in the game, you know. But yeah, it's still just the small things. It's nice to check those brushes as well. Got about 20 seconds left on this next dragon, however. And both teams are pressuring, but of course Baron is now also on the board. You can see most of the vision actually from both teams around the area.
2 item spikes are really online now, though, for Direwolves. You know, that last fight, that last force, it was kind of an item disadvantage, so this time being on more even footing. And in particular, Katsuri with the 3rd item of his own now done. He can 1v9 as Alidoric caught.
Raze finding himself a pick into the taunt. It's a lot of lockdown, but not a lot of damage. Now looking towards the Gato as well. He's just going to drop right here.
I feel like I'm just getting deja vu constantly. Every single time Raze finds a target, he hits the mark, the response is that they lose the fight. And it's really difficult right now to be this Skarner, it feels like, with the Zillion always at his heels, preventing that pick.
I mean, it's a sad life being, you know, a single target lockdown comp, right, against the Zillion. And that's really got to sing the praises of a Zillion pickup right here, because at least in the mid-game, paying dividends is not going to stop as you go further and further into the game. But you've got to start looking at, you know, scaling at some point. But it feels like AV just have, I mean, also the Infernal Dragons, which is just helping their cause.
And as a point of contention, Direwolves actually, they've started off this Baron. Skarner can't hit the Zillion, and Zillion at level 16's ultimate is just so low cooldown that really hard to like execute on that single pick. Get back, kept the Baron aggroed here, Pulse, and Biopanther, keep your eyes peeled on the cannon. He's been spotted.
Directly on the wards, AV have the information, so it's on them depending on what happens next, but not keeping the Baron aggro themselves. Direwolves pretty hurt, actually, off the back of that play, so AV will have the inside track towards this mid lane, and should be able to knock it down, really, without any point of contention at all.
And you think about how Direwolves were executing that play. AV were at the Dragon. Direwolves start the Baron. They force the Baron. What they don't have during that force is any control of the mid lane wave. They don't have any control of vision where they were trying to flank as well with Biopanther. So the setup not being there as they're forcing does give AV the opportunity to just poke, to push them off, to not commit all into the fight where a flank is possible. And then they get themselves the mid lane inner turret as the rewards for that patient play, where Direwolves, I respect the initiative as well. You know, being able to force, checking, will AV even respond to this? Can they? How many people have they sent to Dragon? You get information by forcing. Unfortunately for them, they did lose a turret.
I really do feel like this game has lived up to the expectations of this is going to be a relatively balanced and even game. You know, there's been a lot of tit for tat in this game, a lot of just traded vision and relatively even fights across the board. I mean, everyone's been playing to their strengths. We've seen some outstanding plays from individuals as well. It's just been a solid game of League of Legends.
You know, where I get very curious about this game's outcome, though, Pulse, when you think back to earlier weeks of the OPL, is the Direwolves have proven to be a very good late-game team-fighting style of team. They are still at that point. They still have team-fighting champions in a team-fighting composition. AV are notoriously good in laning phase, who then, you know, tend to get out-team-fought when you hit the later stages, but that's not happening so far. And so we get to meet in the middle, almost dead even in gold at 27 minutes, and see how these teams clash. Can AV actually match the strengths of Direwolves when it comes to that team fighting?
I mean, such as the way of, you know, laning phase teams transitioning into, like, mid-game, right? It's just like, it's working until it isn't, you know? Like, they start winning these skirmishes, they stay ahead, they're on top of everything until they're unable to team fight, and the game just kind of pulls away from them. Right now, AV looking towards the Baron once again, though. Been a bit of a dance, bit of a salsa around this area for a
Ever
good
see
amount of
more
time.
than brown bags on the mid
From
laner of
From
AV?
Zillion.
He's having a laugh.
I mean, that's
about
what he thinks about it. I mean, to be honest, you just don't really, like, you just don't need them, right? Like, if you're looking towards an item spike, if you have enough gold when you go back and you're like, I could either complete a measly large rod right now, or I could upgrade my boots and get, like, a component, right?
I'd love some Sorkies. Some saucy shoes.
Especially for the mid game, but
Wouldn't go
I
all
respect the backs, you know?
right. Now probably Merc Treads, given how they... Yeah, he's got a QSS for Skada, but you still want Merc Treads for a Cannon, for a Galio as well.
I mean, it's simple, Rusty. You just don't get hit, right? And then
Yeah,
you just,
exactly.
then you don't need Merc
That's
Treads.
Korean advice right
Yeah.
there. If he gets hit, he's just not Korean enough.
Yeah. You know what? Just pick up another needlessly large rod and just start working towards that death guy.
That's what he's done.
Yeah. Man after my own heart. Nice. You know, I feel like every time you watch a player when they're farming in the side lane, you watch them miss every single cannon ever. And it's just the worst feeling.
Atlas has gotten to you, hasn't he?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like it's just been a thing for the all time, right? When you watch someone CS, they just miss everything.
It's when they're on camera. They get camera shy. They don't even know they're on
get it.
camera. But
Do you get camera shy on the NPL, Rusty?
on the NPL?
Yeah.
Only if I'm trying to clutch.
Right.
So like if everyone else dies and you want to sit there and try and win it, it's an A-ramp to be fair, so it's hard to be camera shy, but you still get the nerves like you do clutching in any game.
True, true. I feel like the biggest play so far has been the E-Gym core on the Bard portal.
Don't give him any more ego about that than he already has.
It was a good play.
The amount of times I've heard Bryce say, I'm the best.
I mean, money where his mouth is. Makes it happen. AV, though, looking towards the Baron once again. Just been a big old dance, a big old stare down around this area for a good long while, but it seems like this is the first time that AV's really starting to clear all of the vision away this time, and Direwolves are starting to be completely out of the picture.
It's the first force because Chippies doesn't have teleport, but grouped up to the aerials. 5 Bio being able to push the wave in with his teleport advantage. It's a small window, but Direwolves have that window available as they are hunting for Gun Crab.
It's a fast little Skarner, but he's basically blown all his movement speed options for that play.
Yeah.
And now the priority is back over to AV, looking towards Biopanther. Nice ward coming down there, though, because that could have been a big flank coming out from the cannon.
Felt like testing the metal almost. You know, watching the way that Skada moved on. It was like, are you going to ult? Are you going to do something? And
I mean,
didn't.
that's how you have to play as Skarner in this situation, you know? So you know there's a Zillion there, and he can just wait for 16 years to be like, I'm going to press my R on your target, you know? Like, you have to do something like that to force something up.
We're about to have another game of chicken, it feels like. Direwolves should be able to pressure this Baron. They may start it. Katsuri with 4 items will kill this in like 5 seconds. AV, they're about to teleport in. No knock
making me nervous right now. Shot
Oh,
over
the
the
stun.
wall. Oh, that's a big stun coming through, but here comes the cannon. Nice area denial right now. And right next to the pit is all these ultimates coming down. Here comes Nocturne, though, pushing back, and the bomb explodes, crippling the Direwolves. Totoro doing his best to soak up some damage, but it is an absolute whitewash coming in here for AV. Get back. The single member being trailed right now by
The
Shock.
Ghosts.
Oh,
They're
no, it's going
coming.
to catch him as well. Turns around. I mean, what are you going to do? Ace coming through for Shock. Great play coming there for AV.
They just wiped the floor with Direwolves. 2 Mountain Dragons means goodbye Baron almost immediately. They get the reset, they have the buff, and they are just so powerful right now. And the timing of the triple bomb stun from Shock was the same timing as the Cannon Flash ultimate. Completely nullifies the relevance of Biopanther, and the difference between a bomb and a cannon is one's physically there to die. So from that point, AV, they've got the numbers advantage. And Get Back does well to survive as long as he does, but there are some spooky ghosts chasing him down, and AV, they get the ace.
I mean, the plan was good even in the moment there from the Direwolves, but AV just like out-itemed, out-championed at that point in time, you know? And it felt like a good play across the board. You look towards the Dragon, you force the hand of Direwolves, because realistically, what better chance are you going to get other than trying to nuke down the Baron at that opportunity, or you wait for 50 minutes, so... You know, take it now or just wait.
It does still feel like a game of bluffing with Direwolves and AV with Dragons and Barons, because that happened the exact same way at the last Baron, the last Dragon take. It's just that, you know, with a Nocturne, with 2 teleports, they're very quick at getting there as long as the Zion Rakan are available.
But AV, they have the best poker face as they move into the bottom side once again, starting to just move between tower and tower, and it's really just blown out of control at this point. You know, that was the real crux of the game where they can now start knocking down everything that is
Bio
inhibitor
has
tower.
got teleport. You can see the ward behind AV right now. So the teleport ward hasn't been cleared if they wanted to get in there. And I feel like forcing the fight is probably the agenda, but he hasn't gone for it from base. So the base is broken.
It's do or die, right? You go for this one, and if it doesn't go well, that's the game, or you wait it out and you try and go for a late game team fight, as Direwolves want to do. And I feel like after such a crippling loss there at the Baron, you're kind of hesitant to go for another ballsy play, because that will just be the game right there in a best of 1.
I mean, frankly, it's not even just the play at the Baron. It's the play prior at the Baron. It's the dive in mid lane. It's the, you know, every attempt that they have made at a fight, they have been matched. And this Zilean pick has proven to be really overwhelming for all of the good setup and all of the good picks that you were expecting to see from Direwolves. The teleport is here this time.
Little far back though, and AV, they saw it coming from a mile away. The tower was already dead.
Literally
and,
a mile.
That's literally the hesitation. And now Kennen actually just dies to Tippies by himself, pops the ultimate onto a single target, while Gunkrab just rips apart the support.
Still
In comes
going.
Miru. He's got the team behind him with the Xenon ultimate. You can kill me if you want, but it does not matter. 2 kills over to AV. They take down the inhibitor, and they can play this safe. They may even just take the game right here.
Gunkrab hunting, being very aggressive, still having Flash Cleanse in his ultimate. Has no Zilean ult, however, so does still need to respect the damage that Katsuri can put out. But does feel like Katsuri against the world, or the game ends.
Ray's giving it his best shot, but it's Equal Horror now being chased down. Chippy still has the ultimate. Good stopwatch, but immediately put down by Gunkrab. Now just moving on to the towers. Get Back does what he can. We'll get
trying.
1 kill in return. Katsuri, though, right behind him. Exposed Nexus. It's right now or nothing. Totoro moving forwards, but it's the Nexus focused down. AV will take the game.
At the end of the day, Avant Gaming do just outscale through some good team fighting, some good, clean team play. But there was still so many positives that you can take away from a game like this, looking at Direwolves, where they just fell short in the mid-game and started to get exposed. And it was an interesting game to watch overall, it felt like, between both of these teams. I still looked at AV and said they just looked like the better team at the end of this game. And for me, that is the bigger takeaway over everything else, is they did just feel like a better team.
Yeah, I mean, it was just pretty clean across the board. We had that conversation around mid-game. We were saying, well, if you're a team who's good at laning phase, you're transitioning into the mid-game. It's just like, well, you just got to stay on top of your opponents. And I mean, that's exactly what AV did, right? I felt like the Zilean pick really paid off in the end. I mean, was a massive factor in those mid-game skirmishes, mid-game team fights. And really, Zilean is quite an impressive pick, to be honest, once he gets ahead.
And having pocket picks as well is something that makes drafting just a little bit more unexpected. You know, Zilean being a good pick in this draft, one team basically plays that in the OPL. So it's the kind of thing that is very specific. And, you know, at the same time, Direwolves, they've got their own champions, but, you know, still getting used to the team, perhaps it feels like, in the OPL is some little moments where the Koreans perhaps going at wrong moments or only the Koreans going were things that started to hurt them just a little bit when they really did have a good position on the map and a good lead through the early game.
Yeah, I mean, that's basically the conversation we had with Sharp as well at the very start of the game. But that's going to do it from us. We're going to send it back to the couch.
There you go, game number 1 down. Direwolves looking good at the beginning, but AV not only playing well in their own right, but managing to capitalize on a lot of mistakes from Direwolves.
And Direwolves may be looking good where we wanted them to start seeing improvement because Katsuri and Totoro had like a really rough first week in the OPL, kind of built last week. And I feel like this early game was actually quite impressive from them.
Yeah, this was kind of, in terms of like laning phases, the first week was like, wow, Totoro is really over-forcing in the lane. And this was like the best amount of force. They get mega chunked level 1, and then they just turn it around. They get the level 2 W flash into Rakan. He falls down, and then for Direwolves, it really was the bottom lane that they started playing around for like 15 minutes. Flipped them top, they're breaking open the map, and that was their avenue, but it really just didn't turn into anything.
And that's where I want to raise the first question that I have about this Direwolves lineup. Because when I was looking at it, you're playing Fighter into Control Mage, and you get Rift Herald. That Rift Herald must be expended mid lane. Like, there is no other way in that entire game. You're playing 500 range, 80 carry, unless you, like, just that far ahead, you can, like, 5-man dive the turret, that you're going to take it with an Aatrox into a Zillion. Zillion just waves clears forever. But they took a bottom lane, they used it through Totoro's lane, they tried to rotate Totoro and Raze around the map, and they tried to build this lead throughout the, the 2 Korean players. And I wonder how much of that is, Totoro and Raze not being used to playing with the other 3 members and trying to play towards their win condition versus playing towards the comp. Because, like, I really do believe that when you're playing these fighters, these Aurelias, these Aatrox, Akali mids, that you have to use Herald to break mid lane if the other team is playing control mages, and that just wasn't done this game.
Yeah, and then Zillion is like the extreme of the control mage, right? Like when you're playing Ascana, Zillion already makes you very miserable. It's like, okay, on top of that, at the end of the game, there was like 4 QSSs and stuff like that. And I feel like Pulse definitely hit on it. Like for a lot of the game, it was like Shock being the crux of everything that AV were doing. They were holding fast, but like that Baron fight for me was really just like AV, every one of their advantages to claw themselves back in was capitalizing on a large error. The mid lane fight, Chippies gets a huge ulti on multiple people, turns it around, and then they do get into sort of that weird situation. AV have Chippies and Miro hitting the dragon, and it's like, okay, Direwolves have a big Katsuri. He's the one member that is actually doing well at this point of the game. They have a mountain dragon. Can they take down Baron? And there's just a double bomb on the ground, and Direwolves are like, yeah, I'll take that. They just, all 3 of them walk on top of it, and then Katsuri starts 100 HP, fights over, Baron ends the game.
And AV potentially looking like the second best team in the OPL right now. They haven't faced Mammoth yet. That happens tomorrow.
Yep.
But they are really proving themselves this split.
Yeah, big conversation between them and Chiefs, I think, at the moment, like, would be where a lot of people would go. I think that people are pretty confident in Mammoth at the moment. They're at least the top 3 in my head. Maybe I'm more confident than other people. And the big thing for me is that Avant are the most unpredictable of all of them. And I think they're the best early game team, despite what this game showed, of all of them. I think that Mammoth and Chiefs are both very good in their own right. I think that Chiefs are a very good front-to-back team fighting team. Mammoth a little bit more creative in the late game. They have some really good late game shot callers. But I'm excited about Avant. I kind of thought that they were already a really good team, got unlucky in the gauntlet last split, coming into a red-hot form order. But now they've got strict upgrades, in my opinion, and look the goods.
Yeah, and I think also the big thing is to note that they didn't play 3 games with their full roster, and they did get a couple of their wins there, but the big test is going to be Mammoth tomorrow for them, and then they play Chiefs in the subsequent week, next week. So it's going to be like a clash of like, okay, how good are these guys at the top of the table? And then you do like sort to get like who places where on the ranking. Yeah.
Because the big thing is, right, is that I think that, and the other reason I'm so confident is I think that they have strengths where other people in the OPL don't have strengths. So yes, Gunkrab and Aladoric against, King Destiny and Razayla could be a bit of a liability, but Chippies at the moment, especially if Miru keeps playing this way, is just outright the best top laner, I think, in the league, like in current form. And we saw during the gauntlet, and I think like even the Chiefs are aware of it because they played TN even one game at the end of last split. Like they're aware that if you were playing carries, like Chippies is going to make Swiper a liability in my opinion. And Fudge and Topoon are both very good top laners, but neither of them are as crafty as Chippies. Like Chippies is the outright carry player.
Well, yeah.
And like I think that he is such a big win condition in the current meta until it goes back to tanks because he plays like. Sure, we talk about, the Aatrox, the Akali, and the Aurelia.
Yeah.
But then he plays like Camille, Jax, Fiora,
He
every
goes the
other
extra
fighter
step,
in the
yeah,
game.
yeah.
So I think that like he's just got like the best champion pool in this current meta to be able to do that to a team.
Yeah.
And the Gangplank as well, which we don't talk about at the moment, but is a really good pocket pick.
We're going to start talking about that gameplay, and we'll be talking about more right after this short break.
We spotted out, but look at this. Tower die once again, taunted, knocked down, knocked up, doing to be a second kill. Meanwhile, on the top side, Miro getting caught out.
Flow very patiently, but still well as they're on.
Big flash coming in into the taunt right there. Nearsighted follow-up from Miro. Great coming in there with the Zhonya's, but still going to go down underneath the tower. Chippy, flash comes out, stun goes down, and the cannon tries to pop the ultimate, runs away, but he is slowed down. In fact, here, Rusty. Flash forwards. Knock up, suppress, and it's just a chain of CC right now onto Raze. That's the first kill. Thanks towards that knock up, and Miru.
Brazilian ult.
It's good, but here comes a perfectly timed Galley ultimate, forcing out the Zhonya's. Chippy moving backwards. Biopanther tries to get into the fight. He finds one, putting towards the rest of the team. Flash forwards into the massive taunt coming through from Totoro. That's a great stopwatch coming in right there as well from the cannon, but it's just going to be a cluster of ultimates coming through. Get back flash to the wall, instantly dies though. Here come the Spookies. An attack onto Biopanther. Nice follow there from Chippies. Rooted down is Biopanther. He falls. And shot over the wall. Oh, that's a big stun coming through, but here comes the cannon. Nice area denial right now. And right next to the pit is all these ultimates coming down. Here comes Nocturne though, pushing back, and the bomb explodes, crippling the Dire Wolves. Totoro doing his best to soak up some damage, but it is an absolute giving it his best shot, but it's Equal Horror now being chased down. Chippy still has the ultimate. Good stopwatch, but immediately put down by Gunkrab. Now just moving on to the towers. Get back does what he can. We'll get one kill in return. Katsuri, though, right behind him. Exposed Nexus. It's right now or nothing. Totoro moving forward, but it's the Nexus focus down. AV will take the game.
At Macca's, our burgers are now hotter, juicier, and tastier with onion.